uploading this, it's actually Valentine's Day. And I always notice that around this time of the year, my single friends tend to get really down about themselves and start to feel really self-conscious about the fact that they're alone, they're lonely. This isn't really something that I found myself relating to, not because I'm in a relationship, but the way my parents approached Valentine's Day, I always saw it as a day about love, not a day about romantic love. But this year, as Valentine's Day approaches and as more and more people talk about being alone, I guess I got thinking about being alone and solitude and loneliness, because it's something that I think all of us have experienced this past year. And honestly, the more I think about loneliness, the more I realize that the reason people are so unhappy alone isn't actually because they don't like being alone, it's because they don't like being with themselves. I think so many of us really struggle with this concept of self-love and self-acceptance, and I think when you're alone you are forced to spend so much time with yourself that you really just concentrate so much on everything that you don't like about yourself, and that makes it so difficult to be alone. So today I just want to talk about my journey with self-love and self-acceptance and how I've kind of grown to be happy being by myself. My first piece of advice is to journal. I know that so many people think that this is terribly cheesy, but I genuinely feel like journaling has changed my outlook on life so much. Firstly, it helps a ton to put your bad thoughts on paper to get them out of your head. And secondly, it just makes your outlook on your day so much better if you start your day off writing about things you're grateful for, things that inspire you, things that bring you joy. I also feel like it really teaches you to communicate with yourself, to be in touch with your own emotions. You know, we can't always rely on having conversations with other people. Sometimes we really just need to learn to understand ourselves, to talk to ourselves. My second piece of advice is take yourself on a date. Yes, another kind of horrifically cheesy piece of advice, but I feel like so much of the time we tie doing things that we want to do to other people. But why should we tie things that bring us joy to anyone but ourselves? Go get coffee by yourself, sit on a bench, watch the sunset, order some pizza, do something that makes you happy for you. And kind of related to that, look good for yourself. I know that over quarantine we've all had the sentiment that you're more productive if you get dressed and ready as normal. But for me this isn't about productivity. Not that I can achieve productivity by getting dressed up. But anyway, for me this is about feeling good. You know, I love fashion and I love doing my makeup. And it makes me feel so much more confident when I put effort into what I look like. Take some mirror selfies, post them on Instagram, or literally stare at yourself in the mirror for an hour, or have a dance party by yourself. Trust me, it will do wonders for your confidence. My fourth piece of advice isn't really a piece of advice, it's more a quote that just really resonates with me, so I'm just going to read it to you guys. Document the moments you feel most in love with yourself. What you're wearing, who you're around, what you're doing. Recreate and repeat. I think it's so easy to really get down about the bad moments in life. You know, I think as humans we treat happiness and sadness really differently. We can let one bad moment ruin an entire day, but we never really let one happy moment make an entire day good. It's so easy to forget about these times, but I think no matter how sad you are, there's always going to be moments where you feel happy. The next piece of advice is probably the biggest thing I learned in 2020, and it's to concentrate on what's going right in your life at this moment in time. I'm a chronically future-oriented person. I'm constantly obsessing over various projects and goals and tying my happiness to these like uncertain future achievements. But that's not good. I think sometimes you really need to just stop, and be it in the form of journaling or meditation, or literally just thinking about it before you go to sleep. You need to just pause and think, what do I have right now that past me dreamed of? What do I have right now that 5 years ago me would be ecstatic about? The next one is the classic, but have a self-care day. Run yourself a bath, light a candle, eat lots of chocolate. Whatever it is that makes you happy, do it. But I think the most important part about a self-care day is to do this all without feeling guilty. Wake up in the morning, or if you're just having a self-care evening, like decide that like from this point onwards, it's not bad for me to be not doing work. I don't need to be checking my emails. I don't need to be working on this assignment, and I don't need to be feeling guilty about it. I guess on the topic of guilt, this leads pretty perfectly into my next thing, and this is listen to your body. This applies to intuitive eating, not beating yourself up if you're eating something unhealthy, not beating yourself up if you really don't feel like doing exercise today, not beating yourself up if you feel like you need a rest. Last week I was in a yoga class and the instructor spoke about really channeling our feline feminine energy. And one of the things she said is that cats don't ask for permission to nap. They don't think about whether they deserve it. They just nap when they feel like it. And I think that's something that as humans we should really apply. Rest isn't something that we need to deserve or that we need to earn. If our bodies feel tired, we should just rest. That's okay. 8. Reach out to people. As much as I'm trying to tell you that being alone is okay, that doesn't mean you have to be lonely. If you're stuck with your family right now, try and see them as friends rather than your prison guards. Try do something fun together, have a games night, watch a movie, try find a common hobby. Reach out to your friends. FaceTime them, try to go on a walk if you can. I think so much of the time when we're not feeling good, it's actually easier to push people away than to invite them in. I'm not saying you have to share your problems, but try and spend time with the people that you love. Next, do something you love. I find that I'm always the happiest when I'm doing something that I love. I always struggled with finding one particular hobby that I was super passionate about. I've never really had something that I've done ever since I was little that I've always loved, but I think quarantine is the perfect time to find a new hobby, to really invest in something. Literally anything, as long as you're having fun. This is the perfect time to experiment and to find something that really makes you happy. Number 10 is recognize that self-love is a journey. And it's not a journey that you're failing just because sometimes you look in the mirror and think, oh god, I look absolutely horrific. I kind of hate myself. That's going to happen to all of us. And honestly, it's not your fault. It's society's. Society benefits off our insecurities. And if you don't have certain features, be it an hourglass figure or European enough features, you're not traditionally beautiful. But that's not true. Not only are you beautiful, but secondly, I think it's so important to learn to love our bodies and to learn to love ourselves, not for what we look like, but for what our bodies do for us. That's all my advice for you guys. But while you struggle along this journey of self-acceptance and self-love, just know that I'm sending you my love, wherever you are.